We're now joined by Willem Els, Senior Training Coordinator on Terrorism and Explosives-related Incidents from the Institute for Security Studies. And he joins us via our video link. Willem, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. I mean, let's start off, with the remarks we continue to hear, and also the Minister in the Presidency responding to those threats of violence. What do you make of those comments leading up to the May 29 polls?
Good evening to you. Yeah, we are wading into various serious and dangerous waters with these comments that have been made by this political party. It resembles some of the threats that have been uttered before the 2021 violence that took place. And those threats were made before that violence. We know that the history dictates that the state was not prepared to respond to that. The intelligence was not in place. The responses were not adequate, and the country suffered dearly because of that. So it's good to hear that the minister is responding, that the minister took notice of that. It's also good that it also now afford your security cluster to get their plans ready and to prepare for any of these type of incidents.
I mean, as a country, we are still reeling from what you are mentioning, that 2021 July unrest in which we saw. And one would also ask, how concerned should government be by such comments? It has not only been made once, so we've heard it over numerous occasions now.
Yeah. One of the comments actually challenged the capacity of the country to actually stop them, and that is very serious. And one would have liked to see that the police and the security cluster take that threat seriously and maybe act proactively and see whether our laws have not been broken by those attacks and threats. Secondly, we should understand that back in 2021 we were really suffering from the state capture, where that captured our intelligence sector. It captured a lot of our investigation, our policing, etc. So in the meantime, we had all these different inquiries. We had the commissions that investigated that, and they had the opportunity to start to rectify those challenges. What is actually alarming at this stage, we know that the GILAB, or the new Amendment Act for Intelligence, is currently before Parliament. It's not been pushed through, and so those structures are not in place to strengthen our intelligence. So whenever you are in government and you do not have credible intelligence on these type of things, you have to work blind, as they say, and you have to take decisions based on assumptions and not based on good and credible intelligence. And that is really not where a government would like to be.
And Willem, I was coming to exactly that, the question of the intelligence in this country. And that was a big question during the 2021 July unrest. And this time around, does the state have the capacity to actually deal with any threats of violence? Last time they said they were caught off guard. This time around, do you think that they are prepared for any threats of violence?
In the first place, if you look at intelligence and intelligence capacity is not something that you rebuild or build up overnight. It takes a lot of time, a lot of structures have to be put in place, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of capital has to be invested in order to establish these structures. So they have started with that. We know, I mean, they tried to rectify what they could, but we are not in a position where we can say that we can really face all of these things because of the processes that are still there. I mentioned the Amendment Act that has to be pushed through based on the recommendations by the various commissions, and that is not in place as yet. So we are not where we want to be. I believe we are stronger than we used to be in 2021, but that will have to be seen in the proof of what is happening now. So what would happen in a situation like that? South Africa, fortunately, we have very strong security cluster institutions On the one side, you've got your NAT joint structure where all the intelligence and all your security cluster is clusters where they're looking at the intelligence, advising not only parliament for government, but also advising your operational structures in terms of intelligence. But also we have a what they call a NAT JOC system or structure where your joint command operations are being orchestrated from for any election, any major event. They are doing that, and they have all their plans in place. They just need to dust it off, upgrade it, and then of course they have to start to put all those plans into practice before the election.
And Willem, when you're looking at these threats being made, and at the same time looking at the commonalities, I mean, the last time we had an unrest in this country was when former President Jacob Zuma was arrested. And this time around, he is endorsing the MK party. And we are also now hearing of these threats. What do you make of the commonalities here when it comes to the name of former President Jacob Zuma?
Yeah, unfortunately so. The uprising was built around the scenario that he had to go to prison. And we saw that a lot of dark forces behind and surrounding him actually orchestrated these things. Some of the people have been arrested, but what is worrying about that is that it seems that it's the foot soldiers that have been arrested and not the kingpins that actually orchestrated this. So that actually create the impression that there's impunity and that they will get away with it. And I think that strengthened them also in the facade that they are putting up now, and also the threats that they're uttering now that this time around there will be impunity because of the figure that they are actually protecting and promoting.
Can we expect more police to be deployed during the 29 May polls?
Yes, traditionally what they do is in the police, they will go at maximum strength. For instance, leaves will be cancelled, etc., etc. They will deploy, they will work on a plan that is already being designed. You know, South Africa has a history of dealing with major events. I mean, the Soccer World Cup that was here in 2010, the funeral of Madiba, we had more than 100 heads of state. So the police, they do have all those plans in place for these, and they oversaw quite a few elections since 1994, and those plans were drafted and they are very detailed. So the fortunate situation that South Africa is in with our systems that are in place, it is relatively easy for them to dust them up, to update them, but also what needs to be done. They need to capacitate the police. They need to capacitate them with training to update them. They also have to capacitate them with the resources in order to counter any of these insurrections that are anticipated.
All right, Mr. Els, thank you so much for your time